July was more advanced than initially thought. Let's bring in the top Space Force general warning the U.S. is lagging behind China and Russia in developing hypersonic defense technology. This as U.S. officials reportedly confirmed China's hypersonic missile test in July was more advanced than initially thought. Let's bring in Fox News senior strategic analyst General Jack Keane. And I noted that David Thompson, he's the vice chief of space operations for the United States, says we are not as advanced as the Chinese or the Russians in terms of hypersonic programs. Is that a problem, General?
You know, it absolutely is, Dana. I mean, the United States is used to having a qualitative advantage over our adversaries for decades, and this has begun to change, not just with this system, but with some others. And clearly the Chinese and the Russians have technology that we do not have in terms of its deployability yet. The Army will produce the system, in 24, the Navy in 25 on surface ships, and also on submarines in 27. But that will still leave us with a major problem, Dana, because we don't have any way to defend against this system. And what we're involved in developing as quickly as we can is advanced satellites with sensors on it to be able to track this system as it orbits the Earth's atmosphere, and secondly, to be able to intercept it. So both of those developments have to take place, and they are a top priority. Listen, we have said before that China has a quantitative advantage over us in the Indo-Pacific region. They've got more airplanes, they've got more ships, and they have more missiles than we have deployed in that area. And that is another thing that we have to overcome and begin to forward deploy our capability there to establish deterrence. After all, what we have learned from 40 years of dealing with the Soviet Union, we have to have a strategic deterrence that the enemy accepts as real and that we would use it, and therefore they do not want to enter into conflict with the United States. And we've got to fix this with a sense of urgency, Dana.
I feel the same on that one. I also wanted to ask you about this. You've followed this story for years, and the question of whether Russia is amassing troops on the borders with Ukraine for a possible invasion. And some are saying that maybe by late January that could happen. But the spokesperson for the Kremlin, our old friend Dmitry Peskov, says this hysteria is being whipped up artificially. He said this on state television in Russia. Those who have brought their armed forces from overseas are accusing us of unusual military activity on our own territory, that is, the United States. How do you see it, sir?
Well, first of all, we've got to see it as being real. I mean, there's over 90,000 troops that are in the vicinity of the Ukraine border. So that's obviously a serious situation. We don't know what's inside of Putin's head, whether he's going to conduct an invasion as the defense official in Ukraine thinks maybe by late January, or is he doing this just to make certain that the United States and the West stops providing assistance to Ukraine, and number two, Ukraine stops its desire to move towards the European Union and also to become a member of NATO. I think those latter two things, Russia has succeeded at quite frankly, rather successfully in incurring Ukraine's ambitions and stopping those ambitions and also pushing back on the West. But this is a serious issue. It deserves monitoring. And certainly the United States should be sending unequivocal messages with NATO and our European friends as to what the cost will be for Russia if they take this on.
Right, because it doesn't seem clear. One last question, a quick one. President Biden will go to Fort Bragg today. It's always, of course, exciting when the commander-in-chief comes to visit. But this is coming as we get these reports that there are some Navy sailors that have had to take out loans after being shorted on pay. And then last week, we reported several times that 29% of troops faced food insecurity during the past year, meaning that they had a hard time paying bills in order to get food on the table.
And what's
Should
happening
the commander-in-chief
now,
be thinking about that?
What's happening in the ancient Roman Empire?
Yeah, well, I used to command Fort Bragg, so I'm delighted to see him heading down that way. There's some great troops down there like we have in other places. Listen, nobody in the military is making a lot of money, and they pretty much live from paycheck to paycheck with modest savings. So any event that comes that wasn't planned for will literally exhaust their savings, or they have to go get loans. And that is one of the things I saw on a regular basis as I spent my 37 years in the military. And some of the people that they may try to get loans for or financial deals aren't the best people to be making them, because they're involved in charging them with acceptance interest rates. But the thing here
So
is what's going
the
on.
U.S. military is done, man.
Cost of living raises have been going on in the military. Is there a process problem here, which seems to be in the Navy, as to what's happening to it? And they got to resolve this. In my judgment, I used to, when I was close to the troops as a battalion commander, I had 800 under my command as opposed to thousands later on. I wanted to know every single soldier, every single month who had a pay complaint. And I would get my chain of command involved in that pay campaign, because why? It's so serious, as I said. People live in paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Okay, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to you Akim out there that push his word in truth and in sincerity. There you have it. These military officials are living paycheck to paycheck. They struggling to pay their bills. They struggling. So the morale of the U.S. military is on an all-time low. Now, let's get into the facts. U.S. can't defend itself against China, Russia's hypersonic nuclear and supersonic nuclear missiles, man. Because right now, what you have it is, the U.S. military is outstretched. The United States government is broke, man. They done spent billions of dollars on a 20-year war in Afghanistan. They done spent billions of dollars fighting the war in Iraq. Billions of dollars fighting the war in Syria. Going back to PNAC, Project of a New American Century, man. Whereas they was going to come up against 5 nations in 7 years, but that did not pan out correctly for these devils, man. So now you have the Russian military building their forces, their air force. You have China building up their air force, right along with their navy, right along with hypersonic and nuclear and supersonic missiles. So what we have here is the dilemma for these goddamn crackers, man. Y'all got a dilemma. And that dilemma is your empire is circling the drain. All these nations that was once in fear of your technology, your nuclear and your military power, they don't fear you, because you have become small amongst the heathen, because all these nations have nuclear capabilities just like you, devil. And they're going to use it to destroy you. 2nd Ezra 16, verse 12. The earth quakeneth, and the foundations thereof, and the sea rises up with the waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord Yahweh, and before the glory of his power. The glory of the Lord's power is them chariots, man, right along with them thermonuclear missiles that Esau, the Russian counterpart of Esau, is developing, and the Moabites are developing, man, which are hypersonic and supersonic missiles, man. That's the Lord's weaponry. That's a part of the Lord's army, man. So the same missiles that these devils are creating to put fear into these other nations are going to be used against them to destroy them, man. And at the same time, these missiles are being used to destroy Esau. These other nations are going to witness Yahushua crack them skies to bring death and destruction and deliverance, man. And all these nations are going to be put in subjection unto Yahweh Shah, man. Us being joint heirs with Yahweh Shah, man. So I don't know how the hell these devils think that these Russian counterparts that's also Edomites, which are also devils, they're going to rule next. And then you got the Moabites, they're going to rule next, man. These slanted-eyed, incest babies that they're going to rule next, man. You're going to be a wash part in the kingdom. You're not ruling. I don't care how many missiles you develop, man. You're doing that in vain. So it reads back in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, and that bow is that nuclear silo. It says strong is his right hand. Whose right hand? Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shah's right hand? Yahweh's right hand that bendeth the bow, because these missiles are going to be spiritually guided right along with the technology that Esau has been given by Yahweh Shah, by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. So these missiles are going to be spiritually guided right along with the technology that has been given him, man, by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, which is going to be laser guided. And it reads, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows. Now that bow is that nuclear silo that hold the ICBM nuclear missile in its place, man. Once that silo is activated and that nuclear missile is shot off, man, that's it, man. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. So it reads, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. Whose right hand? The Lord Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shah's right hand that bendeth the bow. That bow is that nuclear silo that holds that ICBM nuclear missile in its place. His arrows that he shoot, that an arrow represent the ICBM nuclear missile, that supersonic nuclear missile, that hypersonic nuclear missile. The arrow represents the hypersonic nuclear missiles, the supersonic nuclear missiles. Let's get that straight. Let's get that straight. And it reads, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. Why are they sharp and they shall not miss? Because they are laser guided and spiritually guided by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, to hit their targets, man. Whichever target is meant to be hit is going to be spiritually guided. It's going to be hit. So that's why I tell you in Isaiah 24 verse 19 on down, the earth shall roll to and fro like a drunkard, because these missiles are going to be shot off from the ends of the earth, from the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere, from the western hemisphere to the eastern hemisphere, man. Certain parts of Russia, certain parts of China, certain parts of Iran, certain parts of North Korea, certain parts of Pakistan, India, is going to be shot, it's going to be destroyed, man. You can't get around that. Certain parts of Great Britain, certain parts of Germany, certain parts of Russia, certain parts of, I mentioned Germany, Great Britain, and France, man. These nations are going to be hit by thermonuclear missiles, man. But guess what? Ultimately, two nations are going to be destroyed utterly, man. America and the land of Israel, where them gutter rats dwell, man. And they call themselves Israelis. They're going to be destroyed utterly by thermonuclear destruction. That's prophecy, man. And you can't get around that, man. Take this video down. It's going to be a curse on you and your sons and your daughters and your wife and your children and your family, man. It's going to be a curse unto you, man. Take this video down if you want to, man. Let it be a curse unto you. Because I'm only bringing out facts. I'm only bringing out truth, man. So it reads, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss until they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. From the western hemisphere to the eastern hemisphere. From the eastern hemisphere to the western hemisphere, man. These weapons shall be shot off, man. It says, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Verse 14, behold, the plagues are sent. The part of them plagues is famine, teeth of wild beasts, but ultimately, the ultimate plague is thermonuclear destruction and concentrated fire from them chariots, man. That's the ultimate plague, man. You can't get around that, man. Verse it's Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth, that the fire is kindled and shall not be put out to consume the foundations of the earth. That fire that's going to be kindled is going to be them nuclear missiles and the concentrated fire from them chariots, man. You can't get around this, man. You cannot get around what's going to come down the pike upon this devil's kingdom, man, which is the last leg of the Roman Empire, man. You can't get around that, man. You can't get around that. This is Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. The great day of the Lord Yahweh is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. What's that great day of the Lord Yahweh? The day of the Lord, which is thermonuclear destruction upon Esau, the so-called white man's kingdom, to destroy it utterly, man. Reading it again, not my words, the words of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. The great day of the Lord Yahweh is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord. What's the voice of the day of the Lord? The men out there in the highways and the byways pushing this truth week in and week out, in season, out of season. Right now we out of season. It's cold as fuck, man. It was cold as fuck last week, man. This Saturday past, man. But guess what? We was out there pushing the work. We was out there doing the work of the Most High. Why? Because we are compelled to do the work of the Most High, man. Whether we in season or out of season, we're gonna do the work, man. We're gonna put throughout the week. We're gonna put our videos up, man. Why? Because we are compelled to do so, man. We are compelled to do so. In season, out of season, on the highways and the byways, and throughout the week, putting about videos, man, to edify the hopeful elect, man, to bring this truth out, to expose this devil. Like the Apostle Gabal always say, expose him, expose him, expose him. Expose this goddamn devil, man, for being the devil that he is, man. It is what it is, man. It says, it is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord, which is his prophets. The mighty man shall cry bitterly. Who is the mighty man? The mighty man of Esau's military, man. The mighty men of Esau's military, they shall cry bitterly when them nuclear missiles are detonated and cracking these devils in their ass, man. Taking their kingdom down. They're going to cry bitterly, man. And there's no getting around that, man. There's no getting around that. You're going to cry bitterly because you're going to be taken out of your rulership. You're going to be in the process of being taken out of, you're going to be in the process of being taken out of your rulership. Bottom line, man. That's why the mighty men, which is the military of Esau, is going to cry bitterly, man. That's it. Bottom line, man. Bottom line. It says, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. Esau's military, your missile defense systems is not going to save you in that time when Yahweh shall bring death and destruction upon your kingdom. You're not going to be able to get around nothing. Your days are numbered, man. And that's just the bottom line, man. Your days are numbered, man. Your days are numbered, man. It says, a day of clouds and thick darkness, going into the book of Joel, man. The second and the third chapter, man. The second chapter going into the gloominess of what's going to happen to you niggas, to you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that's joined unto this devil. When this devil's kingdom is going down, you're going to die the death of the wicked. Because you're a joint unto them, man. And you got multiple Jakes in the U.S. military, man. Mainly the nigger women. Another story, another lesson for another time. But the U.S. military cannot defend itself against the onslaught of China and Russia because they have built up their military arsenal. Why the American military was wasting all their resources fighting in this war in Afghanistan and in Iraq and in Syria. You had the Chinese government building up their Navy and their Air Force, improving their missiles right along with their Russian counterparts, man. So now this devil is on the decline. And it is what it is. Bottom line. Bottom line. These devils are done. These crackers, they are done, man. Because now, all this nuclear technology that's being developed, the Lord gave Esau this technology, right along with the Moabites, right along with these other nations that are developing nuclear technology. The Lord has given them this technology, man. And to prove that, you go to Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16, man. I'm not going to read it, but hey, it is what it is, man. The Most High gave these devils and these other nations the technology to build these missiles, man. And the Lord called it his waster to destroy it, man. And that's exactly what these missiles are going to do. It's going to destroy the foundation of Esau's kingdom and utterly take him out of his rulership. And then his next step is slavery for 1,000 years, man. They get a perpetual ass whipping, man. They get a perpetual foot in his ass, man. That's going to be the end with how can I say it? Destination for this goddamn devil, man. Ass kicking, slavery. After you snatched out of your rulership. It is what it is, man. Bottom line. It is what it is, man. And you can't get around it. You cannot get around that, man. This is my last scripture before I close it out. Okay. Let's get it real quick. This is Exodus chapter 9, verse 16. And it reads, And in every deed, for this cause have I raised thee up. The Most High rose up the ancient Egyptians to destroy him. And the Most High also rose up America, these Edomites. The Most High has risen these Edomites up and given them the whole world to rule, and they have become powerful in their ruling, not acknowledge that the Most High gave them the kingdom, man. Because the Most High ruled from the kingdom of men, pursuant to Daniel 4:17, also Psalms 76 chapter, man. The Most High ruled, man. 75th or the 76th chapter, where the Most High put down one and bring up another one, man. But these devils are so proud that they think that they accomplished all the shit that they accomplished and conquered all these nations because they was their might and their power and their wisdom. No, the Most High gave you that, man. And you still gonna understand, and you soon gonna understand that, man. As Exodus chapter 9, verse 16, and the Most High raised you up just to bring you down, devil. Just like he did the ancient Egyptians, man. And every deed, Second Esdras on my mind. Exodus chapter 9, verse 16. And every deed, for this cause have I raised thee up. The Most High rose up these Edomites for a particular reason. For to show indeed my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Because when Yahushua cracked them skies, bringing death, destruction, and deliverance, taking down Esau, is going to be so beautiful that the whole world is going to acknowledge it, and the Lord's name is going to be magnified, man, throughout the four corners of the earth, man. For the mighty works he hath done in bringing down Esau in his kingdom, man. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Wakak Wadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And with that, Shalom.